Welcome to Toffee TV. I am joined by Rodger Armstrong and Doug. Big Doug Armstrong here. And we're going to have another chat about the stadium, basically because I haven't had a good chat with Rodger about his point of view. And I want to get Doug's point of view as an ex-docker about the site and everything else. So Doug, let's start with you. Worked on the docks for a long time. Everton obviously hoping to move to the docks. So what's your opinion first of all of us having a stadium down at the docks?
Well, to start with, sadly the dear old lady is not up to standard anymore.
Okay.
Sadly, very sadly, I've got great affection for Goodison and all it stands for. Unfortunately, it is now defunct, technically speaking. Since they had to go all-seater, it's no longer suitable. If you ever go into the new stand, I'm not talking about the park end now, on that top deck, the steps are about so big, it's a disaster.
That's where we sit.
Top balcony.
Lovely view.
All right, it might be all right for youngsters. But, you know, let's be fair, I'm in the 80-odds. And you've got to watch how you come down.
Of course, yeah.
So, yes, a new stadium is needed.
Yeah.
My problem is the site they've chosen. Well, do they realise what's needed there? There's a couple of firms. There's a gravel firm working there. That's got to be found a new place. There's a whole new dock. There's a fairly new dock shed there. What happens to that? And there's a dock there. Do they realise the preparation that's needed? In my opinion, I mean, no architect, but let's be fair, you've got to have sound foundations in these things. It's no good. One point I would come back to, I once heard when this announcement was made, I'm not sure, one of the commentators said, right, I'm getting down there with my spade. Well, my attitude is you don't need a spade, you need a pneumatic drill to start with. There's railway lines all over the place. So have they got plans to clear the site in the first place?
Well, there's no doubt they have. The question is how long it's going to take. And John was on earlier, wasn't he?
Yeah, John was on last.
And he estimated 2 years to build the stadium. You think it would take longer than that?
If the site is prepared, it could build the stadium in 2 years. My thought is that it's going to take an awful long time to prepare the site.
Okay.
Now, there is an awful lot to be done, in my opinion. Somebody said we're going to cover the dock, we're going to build over it. Now, dear me, that's a new one. I mean, I've never heard that before, but okay, be that as it may. I would have thought the dock would need to be filled in. And you go further up into Seaforth, and a dock was filled in to create the coal berth. Now, that was filled in partly with the dredger coming in full and emptying itself in the dock.
Yeah.
It was filled in with sand and slurry and all the rest of it. Now, it's going. For my mind, it's going to take a long time to prepare the site.
Yeah.
So that's my big fear to it all.
And you've got the issue that the dock walls themselves are apparently listed.
Well, you're not going to demolish them, you're just going to fill into them.
But they have to kind of stay as they are. But none of these things are insurmountable. We're not saying that. But there's a time scale. And John talks about, and the club talked about 2022-23, and a 2-year time frame and a year for planning. So let's not panic, everyone, because we haven't got planning in yet. Get planning in the spring of 19, permission granted by 20, start building completed by 2022, first home game at home to Liverpool in August 2022, and a 5-0 victory. You know, that's it's a tight time frame.
So okay, well, from your perspective then, you know, where John still hope. I don't think he's saying it's definite. He's hoping that Everton follow the timeline. That's what he's hoping. What's your more realistic view out? What do you think?
When we first talked about this over a year ago on Business Matters, I think I said there was a 5% likelihood of us being in 2022.
Okay.
I'm not sure I'm going to change that down the way yet, but And of course, stuff is happening. Why? Well, because something must be happening is about the only argument you hear.
Yeah.
Keith Harris, Deputy Chairman with special responsibility for the stadium, hasn't said a word. Hasn't actually said a word about it.
No.
And Colin Chong, special projects manager in charge of the stadium, has said one or two things and muttered a bit about maybe another consultation. Dan Meese did some great work back in the day with his sessions in St Luke's, and that was all great, and fans were engaged, and it was fantastic. And I don't think anyone will be disappointed if it becomes 23 or 24 even, so long as the communication's there. My problem all along, the biggest problem I've got with the football club is communication.
Yeah.
And we're rubbish at it when it comes to slightly tricky things. When it comes to opening the blue base, and when it comes to some of the wonderful initiatives that the club have, which we're all very, very proud of, but on their own, they are magnificent, but they don't take us nearer to Bramley Moor, and Bramley Moor is the single biggest event this club will have in the next 50 years. Communication has been pitiful, it's been embarrassing, and it has to improve.
What do you say to people who would say, if there's nothing to say, why say anything?
Oh, I get that completely. It's about managing it. I don't want a daily update and a personalised email, dear Roger, this is what's happened today. None of that nonsense. I just think, Denise is a great communicator.
Yeah.
That she tends to just pick the topics that she likes to communicate about. She's really credible. She stands up in front of the media and they'll believe her. And maybe Keith Harris isn't a front man, and maybe Colin's not a front man. That's okay. But tell us, just say that the plans for the stadium, lots of work going on. You won't hear any more from us until a particular date. Yeah? The focus on the AGM is a bit of a distraction for me.
Okay.
Because it's an event, an annual event. It's in the diary. It's on the 8th of January next year. Why wait until then to say something? And why is that really a significant event when you think about the football club now with the majority shareholder is Farhad, and the other shareholders of any significance, Bill's on the board, and really now John's group, which does a lot of fantastic work, the Shareholders Association, and they've held the club to account on a lot of things, reinstituting these meetings, but these are people that don't really have an effective stake in the club. They have a handful of shares, and that's great, and maybe they've been in the family for some time, but this event is more of a PR exercise for the club than an absolute necessity and a major opportunity. I think that the club need to control the narrative more. It's something we talk about and I talk about more. And the AGM is something, and of course we can give an update on the stadium, but let's say something before then. Let's say something clear. We hope there are rumours, but I've been hearing there are rumours of an imminent announcement for a couple of months.
Yeah, true.
And John is as close as anyone, and he's not hearing anything. So I don't know. I just wish we would communicate more clearly and manage the expectations, because of course we're frustrated. Of course there are problems with Goodison, and we know we need to move.
See, I think my point of view is that you're right.
Thank you.
In terms of there isn't enough communication. I think
but it's not communication for the sake of communication.
No. I just think. Listen, you're right. 50. It's the biggest event the club's going to have in 100 years. Because let's be honest, we're hoping to be at Bramley Moor for it long after we're all watching from a different perspective. So I look at
the roof isn't closed, otherwise we won't be able to see.
Well, we'll be able to get in. You can transcend walls. I just think. I think the problem that the club has from us as supporters is when you don't say anything, someone else fills that space.
Exactly.
Doubt fills the space. Now, reading between the lines and hearing one or two things, it's all moving forward.
Yeah.
And it's getting to a position where the website's going to be up and running for it, and I expect there's going to be some information across the next 4 weeks.
Yeah.
That's what I think. If there isn't by this time November, then there's something seriously wrong, because nothing has been said for months other than appointments. Colin's young. I know Colin from back in when I worked at Everton. He's a lovely fella and all that, but like John said last week, we're a bit bored of hearing it's complex. We know it's complex. So saying the same thing, it's complex.
I think that point from John's bang on. All we've actually said if you look at what we've said, it's complex. It's going to take several years, but we're still optimistic we'll be able to do it. Now, come on, that's as naive as Jordan yesterday saying, "I forgot to do my homework. I just guessed right." You know, it may be the truth, but don't say it. You know, and so we need to be giving a message of confidence, and we need to make sure that the void isn't filled by the doubters. And we don't do that, and I think that's really disappointing when we've got a chief exec who's good at communicating, and she should stand up and say where we're at, and everyone will go, fine, thanks, great, now let's move on and let's concentrate on football till the end of the year.
That's the thing, is that sometimes I feel with our club, and it has got better, but it's still, it should be much better. They almost seem scared to say anything.
Yeah.
Rather than
that's the point.
Stand up and go, you know what? Listen,
confidence.
This is where we're up to.
Yeah.
This is where we're up to with it at the moment. We're putting it out for this. Planning permission's going in at that date. This is happening then. That's the projected timeline.
Yeah.
And listen, planning permission won't be going in till March 2019. We'd all
That's
go,
fine.
Okay, fine.
And you've got a perfect opportunity with Spurs now. Delay.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, you know, don't want to fall into that trap. We're going to learn from that, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. It's a perfect opportunity. The international break, when you had John in to talk about it, was a perfect opportunity to update us. The capacity's the big issue, Baz.
Right,
Better not go there.
Let's get on. Doug, let's come to you first. The site, it's all been cleared. It's great.
Lovely.
Okay,
Yes.
Everything's perfect.
Yes.
We know how we can build on it.
Yes.
Mr. Usmanov shipped the steel in for us as our silent partner owner who's just bankrolling us forever with billions of pounds to buy.
And he's on next week,
players.
isn't
He's coming on next.
Yeah, great.
I'll imagine. What in your eyes? I'm quite sure you'll have seen massive crowds at Goodison in the past.
70,000 in there many times.
Well, I didn't want to say that, you know.
No.
I've seen 55 at Goodison,
But
you know, in the 80s.
they were in the days when you stood up.
Yeah.
So them days have gone.
Them days, unless they bring safe standing, which
well, even safe
that'd
standing
only be a
won't
small
return it
section.
to that.
No. So
But
what
you're
capacity
technically
wise?
standing up in a seated capacity
Yeah.
in an area.
In an area.
So we're talking about a capacity for me as an individual. I mean, take yesterday's match.
Yeah.
There was 38,000 in there, which is only a few hundred short of the capacity.
Yeah.
And the match is on telly.
Yeah.
So the support is there.
And it was only Crystal Palace.
Be that as it
Who
may.
didn't sell out?
No.
by the way.
My capacity, it has to be a minimum of 60,000 for me.
Okay.
A minimum. If they uffing and puffing about 52, 53, we may as well stay at Goodison until it falls down. No,
And it may
seriously,
2022.
seriously, I can go back to Goodison when they built that great big stand, you know, the great big one.
The main stand, yeah.
At that time, there was plans, when the park end was cleared, all them Everton houses were allowed to be knocked down. They were all empty anyway, but the council wouldn't let them knock them down. And that graveyard stone place was moved out the way. And when we got possession of that ground, there was going to be a double-decker all the way round.
Where the park end is.
If you sit in that big stand, at the very end seat, you'll be on the line.
Yeah.
Because the pitch was then going to be moved up
Right.
to give more room at the Gladys
At the
Street,
Gladys
as
Street,
far as I knew, going back all these years. And having put that great big stand up, they were then going to do down the Bullens Road, piece by piece, but unfortunately that's gone.
Yeah. Well, rather like United did, because United filled in the gaps at
They
Old
did.
Trafford,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
never stopped playing there.
Well, the difference
And all of a
between
sudden it
us-
went from 40 to 70, you know, just in phases.
The difference between us and Man United is, unfortunately, or fortunately, which way you're looking at it, Old Trafford was flattened during the war.
Right.
So there was no building problems. If you go there, there's loads of parking spaces all over the place. Fortunately or unfortunately again, we didn't get that at Goodison Park. We survived the Blitz at Goodison Park. So, getting back to the whole business, the stadium, the chance was there a few years ago. Something blocked it.
Yeah.
I can clearly remember in the Daily Post, the plan was this, not the one decker like there is now, as Joe Royle commonly said after he won the cup, we'll have to put another one on top.
Yeah.
The plan was to have a double-decker.
It was, yeah.
And it was going to carry on down the Bullens, piece by piece, year by year. And the pitch was going to be moved up.
Yeah.
So there was more room at the Gladys Street end to have the same facility. But of course that's gone.
Yeah.
So we're now down, if we can get the site cleared,
Yeah.
I would forecast that the capacity has to be a minimum of 60,000 to accommodate true Evertonians from all over the place. Let's be fair. You see the coaches from all over North Wales coming here.
Well, further than that.
Well, of course, but we have to make the place suitable for all those people to get in and be season ticket holders. I mean, I was one of the first ticket holders, used to buy for my stepbrother in the paddock.
Yeah.
This was in the 50s when they first started, but that's another story. Then they said you can't go in there, there's going to be seats and all the rest of it. The capacity is essential for me. There has to be clear the site, yes, all right, that's fine. That's my problem over. But when we come to build the stadium with the blue liver bed on the top of the grandstand and all the rest of it, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the capacity has to be a minimum. And I say minimum, meaning it could be why not go to 60, I don't know, a minimum of 60. The planning, it has to be that, for me.
Okay.
And then, so it comes back to your point about communication and confidence, and we've banged on about this a lot on Everton Business Matters and on Twitter, John and Paul and I. And Paul has written a very, very, very clear business case.
Yeah.
That you make it 60,000, and your 5,000 corporate seats, which you have, generate as much revenue as the 55,000 other seats.
Yeah.
Because you've got to have that corporate capacity.
You've got
to embrace that. You've got to allow for walk up and how you manage that, and whether you limit season tickets and how many you give to the away and where you put the away fans. But this is totally achievable if you look at not just the peer group of Uniteds and City, and of course Chelsea are quite small, but look what Arsenal do with their 60,000 and how they milk the corporate. Look at what Tottenham are going to do. You know, Tottenham are going to have a capacity lower than they've actually achieved in attendances at Wembley. You know, 68,000 there, 60,000 at the new White Hart Lane, and getting a proper deal with naming rights is really important, albeit at the right price. But Paul has written on his blog on theesk.org a proper explanation of why this is achievable, and to bottle it and go for 52 or 55 shows that the ghost of Robert Elstone is alive and well.
What would be your minimum?
Oh, to me, it's got to be 60. We've said from day one 61,878 because of 1,878. Why not? And 1,878 tickets every game are given to local kids or partners of VITC or whatever it is, and that's hark back to the boys' pen, and Bill would love that. Ironically, I think it's Bill who wants the higher capacity, and Farhad who seems to be a little less reluctant, a little less willing.
What would you say if Dan Mason, the architects and blah come out and go, we can't have 60,000?
Well, he said we can.
Did he?
He has said that that's achievable. He's also said that the site is not going to be extendable.
Yeah.
So we can't go in at 50, 52, and we can add 10 if we start winning a few competitions. No, I believe that Dan has said that 60,000 is, you know, at those workshops he did at St. Luke's, I think he said quite clearly that 60k is possible, but it's right at the boundary of availability. And in terms of cost, you know, you only build this thing once.
Of course.
And it's a statement. Players come to play in big stadia. Players come to play for big managers and for clubs, and you know, the history's great, but it's a big long gap to fill in terms of achievement. And if we want to attract Richarlison and even better, you know, we need to be offering them that kind of opportunity to come and play in that place.
I think for me the minimum it's got to be 58. I don't think we can go lower than that. I want it to be 61, 87, 8, whatever it may be, but the minimum for me is 58,000.
I think 55 is probably par.
Yeah.
You know, and below 55, the majority of fans will be disappointed with that.
Most
North of it, more and more
Will be
people, and the
happy as
higher
we
it
go
gets,
up.
the higher people.
I just think we had Sasha the other week at the business leaders thing at Stamford Bridge saying we see the stadium as our chance to bridge the gap. And he was talking obviously financially as well with the top six. Well, all the top six, Liverpool have got 55 at the moment. They'll want it extended to 60. They've already said that. Like you just said, Tottenham 60, Arsenal 60, United 76, Chelsea 44. They're trying to get a new stadium, but I don't know what's happening with them.
Well, it depends on the money.
So it depends on, Mr. Abramovich. But everyone else, even West Ham, they've got, as bad as that stadium is, it holds 60,000. Newcastle's 52. So there's a lot of stadiums in the Premier League, well above. Sunderland's 48, isn't it? Whatever, if they came or whatever. So there's a lot of stuff there. So for us, and people, I seen someone yesterday going, why would it be 60 when we've only got 38 today against Palace? Well, like you said,
there's no room for any more.
A, it was obstructive views only left.
Correct.
B, it's Crystal Palace. C, it was on the telly live. So, and D, the big thing that people are forgetting is whenever you move stadium, your capacity, your average goes up by 10,000. Sunderland went from 17,000 at Roker Park to 47,000 at the Stadium of Light, and then the average was 44, albeit when they were doing okay, but it was more than double what you had. Derby went to baseball ground when they went from 16 or 15 to 30,000 average, because
Leicester,
people do it. Leicester,
Street.
Filbert Street to 32,000, because it's there. There's Evertonians everywhere.
Well,
if it's affordable, if it's unobstructed.
Middlesbrough is an example. That's been built on a dock.
Middlesbrough has, been
There's a bridge over the dock to get to it.
And St Mary's is. St Mary's is.
Called the Hardwick Bridge. I was on a holiday, and a fella from Middlesbrough used to happen on about it. I don't know what this Hardwick Bridge. I said, well, he was your left back. He didn't even know it.
He didn't know.
He's an England left back, George Hardwick.
Right.
I said, you had a goalkeeper called Ugolini. He didn't even know that. He
was a part-time supporter.
Well,
he
was a lot younger than me, you see. I can remember the past.
Oh, well, that's fair. That's brilliant.
But,
so it's...
No, for me, it's 60 or nothing.
Or not.
See, if it's not possible then you've got to look for another site. Peel Holdings have done a cracker here by getting shut of that area of ground. I'm not sure it's in the right place, but is there enough space in it? That's what I'm saying.
I think there is an issue with accessibility. There's going to have to be some. There's a river one side, so
well, if you go to the Arms Park in Cardiff, the new stadium is built there, and the river's here. There's just a little path walks past it. All the way up one side.
There is off the Millennium, I suppose, listen, they've done the homework there, because it would have been easier, cheaper, to just go to Croxteth.
Oh my God.
I know, none of us wanted it, but it would have been going up. No, not Kirby, but on Croxteth, the other site, they offered.
Yeah, that's true.
The cross, whatever it's called.
The old Littlewoods building on Edge
Lane. Well, that was the one that really would have been
ideal.
It probably would have been ideal.
Motorway
straight in, and the area was big. But this will be fantastic now that it really will.
If it can get up,
they're doing the 10 streets. They're already extending the road. The station's going in. Everything's going to be fantastic, and our ground will be fantastic there. But I think you're right. We have to start head on now, saying, look, this is it. If they've decided it's 55 or 56, then front it up now and go, this is what it is, and it's this.
It's not possible to do anymore.
Yeah, it's this reason. We're doing it because it's this, and this.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
We would have loved 70. It isn't possible.
Fair play.
Then you go, you know what? Give people more time to get used to it. The people will spit the dummy, because if Everton come out and went at 65, you'd have people going, should have been 70.
Well,
you'll have it, right? You will have it.
Okay.
But the quicker you front it up, is the quicker that then starts. So people then start going, oh, well, our new stadium's going to be 56. Well, what, 18,000 more than Goodison? All right, sound. And people get used to that idea then and start believing it. But at the moment, it's still.
Well, you said earlier, have you left Goodison yet? And I don't feel like I've left Goodison.
No, not at all.
I don't feel there's a date. I don't feel
there's nothing.
Three seasons to go, potentially only 3.5.
My big fear in all this is I'll never see this.
Yes, you will.
Yes, you will.
No,
You're full of life. Stop
Be
it.
silly, you'll be there.
Stop it.
We're not
I've said
finishing on
this
a
many
downer.
times, you know, when you're getting into this position that I'm
Yeah.
in, you know,
Okay.
I mean, they're not getting anywhere, there's no information.
No,
you say,
no.
well, another year and another year.
Yeah.
I haven't got another year and another year. So, to help Everton, there's another seat available if they take the time, because I won't be there.
You will.
You will.
How old are you?
84 next time.
Right. So I'm on Twitter the other day. There's a fella, 107, barber, still cutting hair,
Well, okay.
still working. So pack it in. You're only a young one. Stop it.
No.
Stop. No, I know what. Doug,
You
you know
have to
what?
be
I know what
realistic.
you're saying. I know
Have to
what
be
you're
realistic.
saying, mate.
I mean, I'd love to be on a ferry boat and see the blue live
Yeah.
bird on the main stand. You know, I would get pleasure galore to go down to Seacombe Ferry and look at it and all the rest of it. Don't get me wrong, I'm as romantic as the next person about the stadium.
Yeah.
Just that I have my doubts about clearing the site
Yeah.
and the ability to give it the capacity I think it
It
needs.
needs. And that's
And
where
warrants.
information
The
helps.
club warrants that amount of capacity.
It does, yeah.
It's no good them saying there was only 38 there last week. I've been in there when there was 75, 78,000.
Yeah, yeah.
And years ago, I used to run the Cubs football, and we were beginning to see kids coming with the blue shirts on.
Yeah,
Other than
yeah.
that, it was all red.
All that, yeah, yeah.
You can get back to those times
Easily.
by, as we said, making tickets available for kids. You know, let's get school kids available. But anyway,
Oh, well, that's what you should do.
So,
If you're
yeah.
clever, you
the
should be
site
giving-
availability and the capacity. Okay, I'll cease.
Everton, watch this.
Of course they do.
If you need any more convincing about giving information out, just listen to Doug,
Yeah.
because he's speaking for all of us. We all want information. We can handle it.
Of course.
We can handle it.
Just be
We're-
honest.
Honesty.
Just be honest.
Honesty.
Just come out and go, listen, this is what it is, this is this, this is this, this is this, off we go.
Yeah.
And we'll all go, right, we'll get on with it. But don't you dare go lower than 55. And listen, I think, like you say, just come out and say it. And if you haven't decided the capacity, why?
Absolutely.
That's why. Because
Make the seats
to
narrower
me,
then.
that would be the one of the first things you do when you're designing a
I'll give the
stadium.
corporate room another extra couple of people.
Well, there you
There's
go.
all sorts of
There
ways.
you go. Rodger, do you want the last word? When do you think we will be playing in the stadium?
I want Everton to prove me wrong. It's fine. I know I can handle the news,
Yeah.
as you say, if the capacity is lower than what we'd ideally aspire to. But I'd love Everton to prove me wrong.
John thinks it may. He's hopeful it's 2022. So what? If I had to push you on a
If you
date,
had to push me and I had to put my money down, I'd go a year later than that.
23.
Yeah, I would. Sorry.
Well, you don't apologise to me.
But we'll have won a couple of league titles by then.
I think, you know what? I think maybe 23 as well. Maybe.
Deal.
But I hope, listen, I hope it's 22. I really do hope it's 22.
You're an
But
eternal optimist.
we'll see.
I'll put another one on that.
And Doug, so 23-ish for me and Rog.
And 24.
2024 for Doug, for the big Doug at the end there. Is right. Thanks very much for
Thanks,
joining
mate.
us.
Great to see you.
Thanks, Doug. Superb, mate.
Thank you.
Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget, listen, put in the comments, put what you think the capacity should be.
What do you think of the comments
it.
made anyway?
Yeah, and what do you think of us? Do you agree with Doug? Do you agree with Rod? Do you agree with none of us? Do you disagree with everything we've said? Thanks for watching. See you later. Don't forget to check out Everton Business Matters, where the lads go into more detail and the business side of the complexities of the stadium and everything else to do with Everton Football Club. See you later.